about physics. She'd stopped going to school 4 years earlier, when she was 12, and no one, least of all her parents or her school teachers, had been particularly interested in sending her back again. But even she suspected that an exploding northern hemisphere would rip away the oceans, the atmosphere, and possibly everyone on the planet too. Leafsong didn't think it would really happen, or rather, she had suspended disbelief like you had to with Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny. Their visits required feasts too. In any case, a horde of friends were arriving in the morning to finish Sam's house, and they needed to be fed whether or not the world ended. It was an unwritten rule of the alternative society that when you came to help build, you were fed. Leafsong grinned. Perfect timing. An end-of-the-world feast and a we finished Sam's house party. The feast would need to be cooked there on the fireplace and in the makeshift oven Sam had rigged up from an old truck brake drum, of course. But where should it be eaten? The obvious place was the big geodesic dome the commune had built when they first bought the land 2 years back to be ready for John and Annie's baby. John and Annie lazed on the dome's deck now, Annie feeding Sunshine. John saw Leafsong look over and waved a 2-fingered peace sign at her. But although they had all helped build the dome, it had become John and Annie's private property, even though Clifford said all private property was theft. The mud-walled cottage she lived in with Carol was too small for a feast, and Sam's place was still only 8 solid wood posts with chicken wire stretched between them, though its roof was already half covered with solar panels. Leafsong suspected Sam's concept of house was primarily a place to perch solar panels. All going well, Sam's mud walls, windows, doors and floor would be finished in one giant working bee tomorrow, hours before the end of the world, but the floor would need to dry out and then be sealed with oil and beeswax before anyone could walk on it. No, the party would need to be where she was sitting, around the fireplace where they all ate each night, and in Sam's mum's giant old circus tent the commune used to store tea chests of brown rice and lentils. Clifford slept there too, and Sam for now, their sleeping bags shoved into old chests each morning to stop the chooks or bush rats using them as nests. There was masses of room for a party in the tent, even if it rained. But what should she cook? Sam's parents had promised a sheep to roast on the spit to feed the helpers tomorrow, but a feast needed more than meat. There was corn, of course, an acre of it along the river flats, each stem as strong as if it owned the earth, as if to say, I am here forever. Everyone in Gibber's Creek seemed to have corn and tomatoes ripening. The commune had been eating corn on the cob, corn fritters, and corn and tomato casserole for 2 months. Corn was not nearly special enough for a feast. There were eggs, too, from the chooks scratching around the tent, and cheese and milk from the 2 goats, much healthier than what came from cows, and fat purple eggplants, giant-leafed basil, silver beet, beans, carrots, potatoes, and possibly 7,862 tomatoes, the whole garden filling the air with a smell of fermenting fruit, and the contents of Sunshine's nappies, because John and Annie believed that anything that came out of either end of a baby was naturally pure and therefore safe to use as fertilizer. And at least a 3-hour picking's worth of strawberries. If Leafsong didn't harvest them, no one else would, because John and Annie never worked, due to too much of what darling old Mrs. Weaver down the road called wacky-backy. And Sam and Carol and Clifford were busy building and planning the future of the commune and the world. Leafsong could hear their laughter as they puddled clay and dried tussocks together for the working bee. No one asked Leafsong to help build anything, though even at 16 her big crooked body was almost as strong as Sam's. Somehow any wall Leafsong worked on or trench she dug turned out crooked too, though every cake she baked was perfect. Nor did Leafsong join in the long discussions around the spark spires of the evening fire, the scent of red gum coals mixing with patchouli oil, and John and Annie's joints. Should the commune become a learning centre for peace studies and alternative technology? How many long drop dunnies did they need? When exactly would the world run out of